What is going on, Mullen fans? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. Welcome back to the page of unpopular opinions. Welcome back to my thesis, and I will share that with you here shortly. Tonight we are doing From the Infinity Bottle. I couldn't tell you what all's in there. We just don't put bad stuff in the Infinity Bottle. If you're one of those people that collect, the bottles and you got like 2 ounces or 4 ounces left and you just can't part with it, create the Infinity Bottle. Just blend all of your leftover bourbons together. It's a great way to eliminate bottles, save space, and also be able to enjoy your own creation as time goes on. It's a brilliant idea. So let's look at some things. I want to talk to you guys about a few key aspects. I'll give you my thought process, my theories, and like I said, it's not always the most popular opinion, but a lot of times when we brainstorm on things, we can come up with some sort of educated decision. So we're going to look at a couple of things. We're going to look at remember the vote that went through, right? We said that we had a window of time that we were going to be able to take as much risk as possible off of Mullen, be able to make as much money as we wanted to in the meantime before the vote passed. And then after the vote, at some point, things were going to get pretty ugly. Why did we know this? Because we knew what was in the vote. We knew the items that were on the table, and one of those was going to be heavy dilution. We didn't know exactly what day it was going to strike or how much they were going to hammer us down with dilution, but we have some idea. I mean, we can see it in the charts. You guys can obviously see it. You were prepared for it. This isn't financial advice, by the way. It's just entertainment purposes. Let's talk about it, and you guys make your own educated decisions, but I'm going to share with you my thought process on all of this. So we've been seeing a steady decline in the price. Obviously, you're looking at the charts, you're thinking, I've seen this before. Dilution, right? One of the things the DM does is he doesn't really go outside the box and look for other ways to raise capital. What he does is he just dilutes his stock. He takes it from his shareholders and kind of he's like the government, like Fed, like just print money, right? He just seems to be able to print money. He just says, okay, I'm going to take some shares and I'm going to dump them into the market and I'm going to raise some money because I need to raise money for the business. Does he hold on to his shares? No, he doesn't. Anytime insiders are selling, that's a cue. Anytime insiders are buying, that's a cue. Do any of our insiders seem to hang on too much? Not really. So that's not a real comforting aspect on the side of Mullen. Yes, I know they need a paycheck. Yes, I know they need money. Do they need that much money? Do they need to unload that many shares all the time? Should they save some, besides what they need to just control the votes in Mullen? You guys decide. But just telling you, in the stock market, watch your insiders. What are they doing? Also, let's look at this filing. Mullen, they authorized the sale of 522,222,223 shares of common stock. This looks like it was filed on February 14th. Okay, so I'm going to go through this, and then I'm going to go through the prospectus, the vote that we talked about in the past, and we're going to just kind of make a little theory here. And, take what you will with it. So with Elms, we know that they had installments that were going to be coming due. What else does Mullen have going on? They're trying to finish off Elms Factory, I'm sure, to tailor it to whatever they need to be able to do so. They are going to be looking to add employees. We got to put people on the line if we're going to truly do production, not put a stamp on somebody else's car and sell that. If we're going to truly make production, we have to have workers. Workers cost money. They're going to need money for that. They're going to need money for modifications to ELMs. They're going to need money for their installments. They're going to need money. Now, our bigger players, our higher ups, maybe he will continue to play Fed and just feed them shares, and they can dump those into the market, and you'll be paying our new hire on Shake and Bake and whoever else is coming over from GM. And you know what? It's like he's building a good team, and he's kind of smart because he's not really incurring a whole lot of debt from outside sources. But I would love to see DM actually look to an outside source and see if he can pull some sort of money to come into his project and not have to take it out on the shareholders. But in the meantime, this is what we're looking at. February 14th, it was filed. Could it be done now? Maybe. I don't know. Watch the charts. Let's see. The charts got a little bit of a bump up, even though the markets were absolutely getting destroyed on Friday. But you guys know, with any kind of activity as far as the shorting goes and dilution, it's just it's a tiresome battle to try to be able to fight off, and it's also hard to be able to judge where the bottom's going to come in. So we have that going on. With the prospectus, the vote that is already out there done, it's over. So don't be alarmed by this. But we do know that they had the ability to increase up to 5 billion float. Now the float's not there yet. It's not even halfway there yet, thankfully. But it is getting to be a very large float. So I want you to look at a couple of things here as far as the wording, because I think a lot of people have in mind we got the 180-day extension, so Mullen's not going to reverse split on us. We got it. We got our extension. Now, maybe that's right. Maybe they won't. But I just want to focus in on the wording, because the wording's important, and the wording is really what allows them to do what they want to do. Okay, so let's look at it. It says basically that the amendment will not be filed prior to the latter of March 6th. So they weren't going to do it before March 6th, 2023. And the 180 days after such date. So really, they have any time between March 6th and 180 days. It won't be later than 180 days post March 6th, or whenever that extension was granted, to regain compliance with NASDAQ. So we have on hand a 1 for 2 minimum and not to exceed a 1 for 25. That's okay. But what we need to do is basically consider the other fact that it says that this is provided, however, that the company will not file such an amendment before May 1st, 2023 to effect a reversed stock split unless needed in order to maintain continued inclusion in the Russell 2000. So I don't know that we've got our answer as far as the Russell 2000 goes, but also they have a caveat in here that is going to also allow them to do that prior to what our expectations may be, just because they got an authorization from NASDAQ. Keep that in mind. We don't know exactly when, where, or what is going to happen. We just have to keep in mind what exactly might go down. It says basically the board decision as to whether and when to effect the reverse stock split is approved by the stockholders. If approved by the stockholders, will be based on a number of factors, including prevailing market conditions. How are the market conditions right now? I'll ask you. Are the market conditions good? Okay. So I think we can agree that the market conditions are not good. So it says also that it goes on to read existing and expected trading prices for our common stock. Well, the existing trading price is not that great. And if they do carry on further dilution, what would be the expected trading price of the stock? Probably not that good. Okay. So it says actual and forecasted results of operations. What do they need right now? We just touched on it. They need money. Why do they need money? Because they have expenses in detail to their operations. And the likely effects of such results of the market price of our common stock. So, I mean, if the insiders are selling, they are affecting the price of the common stock. It says, however, the reverse stock split will not be affected prior to the latter of March 6th, 2023, and 180 days after such date, which later date depends on the NASDAQ grants the company, which we got that from the NASDAQ, unless the company determines at any time to effect the reverse stock split to maintain continued inclusion in the Russell. So they have ability to do that at any moment. Now, it's going to basically have an effect on us one way or another at some point unless they can get it back above $1. Now, if he decided, hey, I'm going to dilute early on, we're going to get our 180-day extension, and my dilution's going to be done for the time being. I raised enough money, and I will be able to see if there is a natural price rise in Mullen. Okay, then there's a little bit of time. Let's see what happens. There was 522 million roughly shares that went out into the market. If we're saying they're done, what would be a fair price for the stock to say that we sold them at? 30 cents roughly? That's $156 million. Now, is $156 million going to be enough to pay the installment on Elms? Is it going to be enough to be able to make any modifications that they need to? Is it going to be enough to put people on an assembly line to be able to put together enough cars to put them out there in process? Is it going to be enough to cover whatever their payroll is right now if it's not only in stock options? And do they need money for materials? What do they need money for? Everything, basically. So keep that in mind. That's not a whole lot of money. And can they raise a whole lot of money whenever they're selling an extensive amount of shares into the market at these low prices? No. That's why I think a reverse split could be and probably is in our future. In my eyes, it could come out very soon. It could be delayed up until the point of Russell if they want to hold off that long. Maybe they have enough to pay what they need to pay right now, and they're like, okay, we can wait. But I think we also have some ideas that they're trying to hit some lofty goals of being able to put some cars into production and out on the road here shortly, which is going to cost money, which means I don't know if they're going to want to wait 6 months from March, right, to raise money efficiently. You can't raise money efficiently down here. So another reason that I'm thinking that there is a strong possibility that will happen. But keep that in mind. So, I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do. I don't know if we will be able to pull off getting back to $1. We got a whiteboard here. So I did a whiteboard. Some of these were surprising whenever I updated them. We talked about them before in the past videos, and a lot of the market caps have come down. The share prices in a lot of these companies have come down. Let's look at it real quick and just kind of make an assumption as to what we're up against. Fisker has pretty much put into action. I think they've even sold out like pre-order style, and they put into action production mode. Right now they have a market cap of 1.13 billion, and they have 320 million outstanding shares. PSNY. I don't know a whole lot about Polestar. I don't really know that I like Polestar. I've made videos on Polestar from the very beginning saying it was going to hit $4 at least, and it did. So Polestar, 2.1 billion outstanding shares, market cap 1 billion, and then Sin was ahead of us at one time as far as Mullen went in the market cap, and now Sin has dropped significantly. 261 million shares outstanding, and they are at a 64.78 million market cap. Right now, Mullen has 2.13 billion, as far as we know, outstanding shares in the market, and their market cap is sitting at 331 million. So we're looking at a 3.5x to match Fisker's market cap, and we're looking at a 3x to match Polestar. Polestar has pretty similar numbers, right? 2.1 billion outstanding shares. Market cap is sitting at 1 billion, I believe, if that is correct. Let me just pull it up here real quick while I'm thinking of it. Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things that could Mullen hit could they hit a million or 2 million billion? Let's do billion market cap. They could, with some of the assets that they're obtaining, possibly they could hit a 2 billion market cap. That would give them almost a buck. So I mean, we're looking to get over 2 billion as far as the market cap goes in Mullen, which is significant from here. That's what, a 6x almost. And then we're going to continue to be looking at dilution. So even if Mullen gets to 2 billion, say, that's about $1.20 if we're going to be very generous. And then we need to hold that, and also David needs to raise money, and he's going to have the shares to be able to do so. So that's why I'm saying I do think there's going to be a reverse split, and I think it's going to come sooner than maybe we want to acknowledge that it's going to come. And I think it's going to be a pretty large reverse split, in all honesty, because of the factor that we need to be high enough that he's going to be able to dilute and remain in compliance for at least a blink of an eye. So we're looking at $3.5, $4 maybe. Would at least alleviate a lot of the dilution that's going on, because he's not having to sell 500 million shares to be able to raise the same amount of money as he can, if we're 25x that. So that's the positive, but at the same time, I think that it's on the table for us in Mullen, and to think he's going to wait until September if he has big goals of making any kind of production this year, I just don't see it. So we'll see how it continues to move. If this is truly the bottom, we're getting a little bit of strength back in it. If dilution is finally over and done with, then be watching to see if it can make a climb back, because the higher the share price gets before the company makes their decision as to if they are going to reverse split or not, at least the higher the share price, the better chance we have of not being such an astronomical reverse split. I could tolerate like a 1 for 4. I could tolerate a 1 for 4. Anything over 1 for 4, and I'm not gonna be tickled, but I mean, it could be a 1 for 10. It could be, at least that's better, right, than a 1 for 20 or a 1 for 25. But I do think that they're going to probably try to start pumping it up to a much higher level, especially if they're looking to take on some extreme money making situation scenarios so that they can pay for what they have. So next stop 23, the 236, sorry, at about 18 cents. I would be watching to see if it gets there, and if it does, can it hold? And then we're really just playing with pennies. 19, 20, 21, 22, and let's see how it moves through there. But we really need that dilution to be over and done with for this to have any kind of potential to the upside. Otherwise, you just have to really be watching what's going on to the downside. I do still have Mullen shares. I'm not out of Mullen. I told you I took a lot of my risk off the table whenever we were talking about it and exploring the possibilities. A lot of you guys were probably able to do that, which is good. I told you before I'm not in Mullen for a short squeeze, but we can look at the ortex. It's saying 10.74%, 202.52 million cost to borrow average, not that high, 13.23%. Utilization is maxed out. Again, I just want to be in a good EV play with as little shenanigans as possible, and I don't know, but I mean, we have them, but we just kind of go from there. Keep an eye on the charts, keep an eye on what you know you're willing to risk, what you're putting on the line, and just kind of do some math and see, you know, if the numbers make sense. We'll see. I think whenever it does split, though, we're going to see dilution, and reverse splits never work out for the positive. And, you know, like once in a blue moon, will it work out for the positive? So the shorts will come in there because they're going to be expecting the same thing that I'm telling you, is the dilution will be real whenever these numbers get to a level that it makes sense, because we know that money is necessary. And until DM looks for some other source besides his shareholders to take that money from, we're just going to have to bite the bullet and deal with it, or, you know, see how it all shakes out. But a lot of positive things have been going on for Mullen. We see that they have the potential of government contract, which would be okay. It looks like they're taking some money finally to reserve some of those pre-orders, which is nice. It is refundable, so I mean, it's not making them money, but at least people are putting a few bucks up to be able to put their name on the list. They're not just falsely reserving a car that they could never pay for or afford or never intend to take in the first place, you know. So we got that going for us. It looks like IGO has been on 4 pre-orders. The Marion Auto Works looks like they might have some vans coming their way, or at least are available for pre-order. So we have some things going for it, and that's the only reason that I'm thinking maybe, you know, I think we would need an earnings with the assets and some very positive news and some sales. And if we can get those kind of things going before he reverse splits it, maybe, just maybe, you know, that could pull us back up into some sort of similar share price as what we're seeing. I mean, Fisker, I don't know if I updated these, but Fisker and Polestar are somewhere in the $4 to $6 range. So, I mean, that would be beautiful if we can get some sort of production done. I just don't know if they have the capital on hand right now to be able to do so without thinking of some sort of way, and whether that be dilution or outside financing. I think they need to figure that out, how they're going to pay for it. If it's outside financing, then there's a chance that it could run and get back and regain compliancy, and we'd have time to get this news and everything, and, you know, cars on the road, in butts in the seat, you want to say that. But if they don't look to outside sources to fund it, I think they're going to be looking to the same way that they've always funded everything in Mullen. So, not coming down on you too hard, just telling you probably why we are where we are and what I'm really going to be paying attention to as far as March, April, and May go in Mullen. And May is very limited. So really just the remainder of March and part of all of April. Okay, so that's like a month and a half, maybe. I don't even know what day it is. March 11th. So, yeah, about a month and a half is really going to be my high attention as to what we do, and we just go from there. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. I appreciate you guys coming back. We will talk about Mullen as good things progress, and we'll talk about options if and when the possibility of a reverse split comes into play, and, you know, we'll go from there. But I will catch you guys in the next one. As always, stay golden, people, and may your accounts stay green.